If you wake up between 300 a.m. and 500 a.m., do not take it lightly. Do not dismiss it as a mere disturbance in your sleep or an accident of the body's rhythm. It is not simply because you drank too much water or because your dream stirred you awake. When the world is wrapped in silence, when the streets are empty and darkness still rules the sky, something greater is moving. God is stirring you. God is calling you. God is awakening you for a purpose that transcends the ordinary. That hour is not ordinary. It is sacred. That hour is not random. It is divine. Have you noticed how at that time the air feels different? It is still. It is heavy. And yet it carries a strange weight of eternity. You may feel restless. You may feel an urge. You may even feel oppressed as though something unseen is pressing against your spirit. Do not fear this. Instead, recognize it. This is the hour when God opens the heavens to those who dare to rise. This is the hour when destinies are shaped, when prayers pierce the unseen world with unusual force, when secrets are whispered to the souls that are willing to listen. The enemy of your soul also knows this. That is why he disturbs you in the night. He knows that if you ever discover the power of these hours, your life will change. He knows that if you ever learn to rise and bow before God at 300 a.m., you will no longer be an ordinary person stumbling through life, but a vessel of power, a carrier of light, a warrior who cannot be defeated. That is why he tries to keep you asleep. That is why he sends distractions. That is why when you wake at this hour, you are tempted to scroll through your phone, to turn on the television, to do anything except bow before the one who summoned you. But I tell you this with conviction. If you wake between 300 a.m. and 500 a.m., do not waste it. Do not turn to meaningless things. Do not let slumber drag you back down. Rise up, wash your face, straighten your body, and recognize that God has knocked upon the door of your heart. He has whispered your name in the silence. He has chosen that moment to separate you from the multitude, to test whether you will respond. Do you not understand the weight of that call? The creator of the universe, the one who shaped the galaxies, who stretched out the stars, who governs the tides of the sea and the breath in your lungs, has chosen to awaken you, not at noon when the world is noisy, not in the afternoon when you are busy with endless tasks. No, he wakes you at the quiet hour when no one sees, when no one applauds, when the world is asleep, because that is the hour of intimacy. That is the hour of revelation. That is the hour when God measures the depth of your hunger for him. At 300 a.m., the voices of men are silent, but the voice of eternity grows louder. At 400 a.m., the cities rest, but the courts of heaven are alive. At 500 a.m., while most of the earth still slumbers, God is searching for those who will rise, who will kneel, who will call upon him with undivided focus. The most dangerous thing you can do is to turn over and sleep again. Because when you sleep, you forfeit what could have been your breakthrough. When you sleep, you close your ears to the message that was meant for you. When you sleep, you waste the divine appointment scheduled for your life. There are mysteries that will never be revealed in the noise of the day, but only in the silence of the dawn. There are blessings that will never be handed to you in the crowd, but only when you stand alone before God in the darkness. There are battles that will never be won in the sunlight, but must be fought on your knees at 300 a.m. You wonder why some chains remain unbroken, why some doors remain locked, why some enemies still pursue you relentlessly. It is because you have not risen to meet God when he has called you. If you rise at that hour, do not complain. Do not speak of your worries. Do not waste words on ordinary requests. Bow deeply. Call upon God with faith. Ask him to reveal what the enemy is planning against you. Ask him to cover your children, your family, your work, your mind, and your heart. Ask him to strengthen you for the battles yet unseen. When you pray at 300 a.m., your words are not like the words of the day. They are sharper, heavier, more powerful because they are forged in the silence of sacrifice. God is closer than you think in those hours. He bends down to hear the whisper of those who dare to rise. He marks their names. He sets them apart. He clothes them with a strength unseen by others. People may look at you and wonder why your life is protected, why doors open for you, why storms do not drown you. They do not know that at 300 a.m. you are bowed before the throne of God. They do not know that at 400 a.m. When others chase dreams in their beds, you chase the presence of the eternal. Do not despise this holy interruption of your sleep. It is not a punishment. It is an invitation. It is not a burden. It is an honor. For God only awakens those he trusts. He only disturbs those he desires to draw near. If you have been waking at this hour, you are not cursed. You are chosen. You are not being harassed. You are being summoned. Respond with faith, and you will see what others never see. Respond with obedience, and you will walk in dimensions others never touch. The enemy will tell you, go back to sleep. Your body will plead just one more hour, but your spirit must answer. God has called me, and I will rise. Each time you obey, each time you kneel, each time you pour out your heart in those hours, you are writing a story in heaven. You are establishing victories in realms unseen. You are shaping your destiny, and the destiny of generations after you. When you wake between 300 a.m. and 500 a.m., you must understand that this is not just about you. It is about eternity moving through your life. These hours carry a weight that most ignore, but those who recognize them, those who respond to them, become vessels of transformation. God calls you at that hour not only to bless you, but to shape the future, to turn the course of events, to intervene in battles that are raging in silence. Do you know why God often chooses to awaken you in that specific window of time? Because the distractions of the world are minimized. The noise of men has ceased. The chatter of society is quiet. It is in this stillness that the voice of God is most clear. When the day begins, you are quickly surrounded by duties, responsibilities, conversations, and noise. But at 300 a.m., you are stripped of all those layers, left bare before your Creator. That is when God can reach into the deepest part of your being and whisper things you could never hear in the rush of the day. This is the time when your heart is most vulnerable, when the spirit world is most active, when unseen battles rage fiercely. The enemy prowls in the dark searching for souls to weaken, but God calls his own to rise and push back with prayer. Do not underestimate the warfare of the night. When you feel an unusual heaviness, when your mind feels troubled, when your body tosses and turns in restlessness, it is because forces you cannot see are moving. The ordinary man sleeps through it, but the one awakened by God rises and confronts it. That is why rising at this hour is not simply spiritual discipline. It is survival. It is warfare. It is destiny. When you bow in those hours, your words echo in eternity. Do not rush. Do not stumble over empty phrases. Speak with clarity. Speak with conviction. Speak with hunger. Tell God that you are awake because you know He has awakened you. Tell Him you desire His guidance, His protection, His wisdom. Ask Him to expose the traps set before your feet. Ask Him to silence the whispers of doubt that the enemy plants. Ask Him to renew your strength so that you can walk in purpose and not drift like the masses. Think of how powerful it is. While millions lie in sleep, their minds lost in dreams, you are awake, alert, and standing in the courts of heaven. You are not just one person whispering in the dark. You are aligning yourself with the Creator who governs everything. When you kneel, you are not small. You are mighty because you are connected to the source of all power. This is why those who rise at 300 a.m. do not live like others. They carry a presence, a strength, a light that others cannot explain. Their enemies fall before them. Their fears cannot conquer them. Their storms cannot drown them. But let me tell you something deeper. Rising at 300 a.m. is not only about asking, it is about listening. Too many think prayer is a monologue where we pour out words and then leave. No, prayer is a dialogue. When you rise in the silence of dawn, speak yes, but then wait. Be still. Open your heart. God may not shout, but He will speak. Sometimes it will come as a thought that pierces through confusion. Sometimes it will be a sudden peace that calms your restless mind. Sometimes it will be a conviction, a strong inner pull directing you to act or warning you to wait. These whispers are priceless. They are the difference between life and death, between victory and defeat. If you rise at 300 a.m., you are choosing intimacy over comfort. You are telling God, I want you more than sleep. Do you think God ignores that sacrifice? No. He treasures it. He records it. He rewards it. While others chase after blessings with desperate hands, the one who rises early finds blessings chasing him. Doors open where they should be locked. Opportunities come that cannot be explained. Protection surrounds him like a shield. Why? Because at 300 a.m. he gave God his heart. There are levels of favor you cannot unlock without the discipline of rising early. There are secrets of the Spirit you will never know until you kneel in the night. There are enemies you will never defeat until you stand at that hour. Some blessings are costly. They demand the sacrifice of your sleep, the bending of your knees, the lifting of your hands when the world is resting. Do not run from this cost. Embrace it, for the reward is greater than the pain. Look at the world. So many chase power, money, recognition, and yet they are empty. They sleep through the night and rise with weary hearts. But those who give God the first moments of the morning rise with light, rise with clarity, rise with authority. They may not have the world's applause, but they carry heaven's approval. And that approval is worth more than gold. This is not just for saints, prophets, or holy men. This is for you. Do not disqualify yourself by saying you are too weak, too ordinary, too sinful. If God is waking you, it means He has already chosen you. He sees something in you that others may never see. Do not waste the invitation. Do not bury the calling under excuses. Rise even if your prayer feels weak. Rise even if your words are few. Rise. Even if your heart feels heavy, rise. God is not measuring the eloquence of your speech. He is measuring the surrender of your heart. The more you rise, the stronger you become. At first, your body will resist. Your mind will wander. But as you persist, you will notice a shift. You will feel lighter, clearer, stronger. You will begin to crave that hour, not dread it. You will begin to see answers unfold in your life with unusual speed. You will begin to sense danger before it comes. You will begin to walk in an authority that even your enemies cannot deny. Yes, 3 a.m. is not easy, but it is in difficulty that power is born. Sleep is sweet, but destiny is sweeter. Comfort is tempting, but victory is greater. If you want to live like the masses, sleep like the masses. But if you want to walk with God in ways that separate you, rise when He calls. When the hand of God stirs you awake between 300 a.m. and 500 a.m., it is not only about prayer. It is about alignment. It is about God reshaping your destiny while the world still sleeps. At that hour, heaven's agenda is moving and God is asking, will you participate or will you miss it? To rise is to say, God, I want to move with you. I want my life to flow with your rhythm, not with the rhythm of the crowd. That moment is not simply a call to whisper words. It is a call to step into the current of divine purpose. Consider this truth. Every great transformation in history begins in silence, hidden away from the eyes of men. Seeds break the soil in silence. Rivers carve their paths in silence. Heart beats in silence. And so too does destiny unfold in silence. When God calls you in the early hours, He is inviting you into that sacred silence to shape something in you that cannot be built in the noise. If you ignore that call, you may still live, but you will live shallow. If you respond, you will live deep with roots planted in places others cannot reach. These hours are a test of what you value most. Do you value the temporary comfort of your bed, or do you value the eternal presence of God? Do you cling to your dreams in sleep, or do you rise to pursue the greater dream that God has for you? Many say they want power, but they refuse the discipline that births it. Many say they want to hear from God, but they ignore the hour He speaks. If you truly long for God, prove it by rising when He calls. When you stand in the quiet of dawn, you are not just standing for yourself. You are standing for your household, for your children, for your city, for your generation. At that hour, you have the power to intercept what the enemy planned for your family. You have the authority to cancel disasters before they manifest. You have the ability to declare blessings that will flow into the future. Do not think of your prayer as small. When it is directed to God, even a whisper becomes thunder in the heavens. Let me tell you this. Every time you respond to God in the early hours, you are building a fortress around your life. You may not see it immediately, but walls of protection are rising. While others walk uncovered, you walk shielded. While others wonder why their lives collapse under pressure, you stand unshaken. Not because you are stronger in yourself, but because you chose to kneel when it mattered most. And do not think that these hours are only about defense. They are about vision. At 300 a.m., God does not only protect, He reveals. This is the hour when ideas are birthed, when clarity comes, when direction is given. Some of the greatest decisions you will ever make are not decided in boardrooms or through advice from friends. They are birthed in the secret conversations between your spirit and God in the stillness of the night. If you rise faithfully, you will discover that God gives you strategies, insights, and understanding that far surpass the wisdom of men. But you must come with humility. You must come stripped of pride. In those hours, you cannot impress God with long speeches or polished words. You can only come as you are, weak, vulnerable, open. That is what He desires. God does not despise weakness. He despises indifference. If you are trembling but present, He will honor you. If you are wary but willing, He will strengthen you. What matters is not how strong you are when you rise, but how surrendered you are when you kneel. Now hear this truth. When you make it a habit to rise at 300 a.m., you become dangerous to the enemy. He cannot predict you. He cannot bind you. He cannot trap you easily. Because while others sleep through the snares, you are awake, breaking them before they tighten. The enemy fears a person who rises in the night to meet God. He knows such a person is not ordinary. They are an instrument of heaven on earth. That is why he fights you with laziness, with distraction, with heaviness. But if you push through, if you train your spirit, you will walk in a dimension of freedom that others cannot comprehend. These hours are also about intimacy. Do you realize how personal it is that God chooses to meet you? While the world is absent when you rise, it is not a performance, not a show. It is you and God alone. It is the purest form of devotion stripped of applause and recognition, and God treasures it. He sees it. He responds to it. Others may never know the sacrifices you make in the quiet of dawn, but God will never forget them. Let me also tell you this. What you do in these hours determines what happens in your day. If you rise early, align yourself with God, and seek His face, the rest of your day will flow with order and strength. You will walk with clarity, with patience, with wisdom that others lack. But if you sleep through the call, you may find yourself chasing the day restless, scattered, vulnerable to attack. These hours are the foundation. A house without a strong foundation cannot stand. A life without the foundation of prayer in the early hours cannot withstand storms. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not say, I will rise when I am less busy, when I am stronger, when I am older. The call is now. God does not summon you at 300 a.m. because your life is perfect. He summons you because your life needs Him. Respond today, and the future will respond to you. Even the smallest effort counts. If all you can do is whisper His name, whisper it. If all you can do is sit in silence, sit. If all you can do is weep, then weep before Him. God is not measuring the volume of your words, but the sincerity of your heart. He sees beyond the action to the motive, beyond the appearance to the essence. And if you rise with a heart that truly longs for Him, He will pour into you what you cannot imagine. Yes, you may be mocked. People may laugh and say, why disturb your sleep? Why waste your time in the dark? But let them mock. They will see the fruit. They will see your peace when storms rage. They will see your strength when others collapse. They will see your light in times of darkness. And they will know that you carry something they do not. That something is not luck. It is God. So the next time you wake at 300 a.m., do not roll over. Do not waste it. Recognize it. Stand in the holy stillness. Lift your voice to God and know that you are standing in the place where destinies are shaped, where battles are won, where blessings are released. You are not weak. You are chosen. You are not disturbed. You are invited. And when God invites you, the only response that honors Him is to rise. When the hour of 300 a.m. comes and your eyes open, remember it is not a coincidence. It is not your body deciding. It is God calling your spirit. That call is the greatest honor of your life, for it means the Eternal has set His eyes on you in the hidden places of the night. Do not dismiss it as ordinary. Do not waste it in slumber. Do not surrender to the weakness of flesh. Rise, for that is the hour when heaven bends low to earth, when destinies are rewritten, when blessings descend like rain upon the faithful. Think of this. Every time you choose to rise, every time you choose to kneel, Every time you choose to whisper God's name instead of closing your eyes again, you are stepping into eternal history. You are marking your place as one who valued the presence of God above the comfort of sleep. You are choosing power over weakness, clarity over confusion, light over darkness, and every sacrifice you make in those hours will not be forgotten. It will echo into your future, into your children's lives, into generations yet unborn. The path of the masses is wide, but it is shallow. The path of those who answer the call of God at dawn is narrow, but it is filled with depth, with glory, with eternal reward. If you want to walk like everyone else, stay in bed. But if you want to walk with God in a way that separates you, in a way that carries weight, in a way that transforms not only your life, but the lives of others, then rise when he calls. So here is the challenge. When the next dawn comes and you find yourself awake between 300 a.m. and 500 a.m., do not ask, "Why am I awake?" Ask instead, "What does God want to do with me right now?" Do not waste those moments scrolling through meaningless things. Stand, kneel, cry out, whisper, or simply sit in silence before him. But do something. Make the darkness of that hour sacred. Turn it into an altar. Let your tears, your words, your heart be the offering. And when you do, you will see protection surround you. You will see doors open that no man can close. You will see storms lose their power. You will see clarity break forth like light after the night. You will see the strength of God fill you in ways you never thought possible. So rise, chosen one. Rise when the world sleeps. Rise when the night is heavy. Rise when the call of God shakes your spirit. For those who rise in the secret hour will shine in the open day. Those who bow in darkness will stand in light. Those who trade sleep for the presence of God will never be empty. Your destiny is too great to sleep through. Your calling is too important to ignore. Your God is too mighty to turn away from. Answer him when he calls, and your life will never remain the same. Listen carefully, because this message is not reaching you by accident. There are arrows, spiritual arrows, that have been launched against your life. Some of you feel it already. Sleepless nights, sudden attacks on your health, constant setbacks, strange opposition that defies logic. These are not coincidences. They are targeted arrows of evil sent to weaken your spirit, delay your destiny, and drain your joy. But hear me now with all the power of conviction. No arrow formed against you will prosper when you rise in the authority of prayer and the eternal Word of God. And today we will stand on 4 Psalms, timeless declarations of divine power that send every arrow back to the one who fired it. Do not take lightly the reality of spiritual warfare. There are forces that rise against the righteous, forces that operate in hidden places, plotting and conspiring in the dark. You may not see them with your eyes, but you feel the effects in your spirit, in your family, in your finances, in your health. The enemy aims arrows not at your body alone, but at your soul, your peace, your mind, and your destiny. But the moment you take refuge in God, those arrows lose their direction and return to their sender with double force. The Psalms are not just poetry. They are weapons forged in the fires of divine inspiration. They are not mere songs. They are declarations that shift the unseen world. When you declare them in faith, every arrow of sickness, of fear, of confusion, of poverty, of death must turn back in shame. Consider the words of Psalm 35:5. Contend, Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take up shield and armor. Arise and come to my aid. May those who seek my life be disgraced and put to shame. May those who plot my ruin be turned back in dismay. Do you feel the weight of those words? This is not the voice of weakness. It is the voice of authority. When you pray this psalm, you are no longer standing alone. You are calling upon God, the Lord of hosts, to arise as your defender. The arrows that were meant to pierce your soul return immediately, because no hand can strike what God shields. The very forces that seek to destroy you are swallowed by the judgment of the Almighty. Speak this psalm not as a timid request, but as a divine command, and you will watch as the battle shifts in your favor. Then turn your spirit to Psalm 91, a fortress for every soul under attack. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, the arrow that flies by day. Did you hear that? God already knew the enemy would launch arrows against his children, but he also provided the covering that makes them powerless. When you stand under God's wings, arrows may be shot, but none can pierce you. They are deflected, redirected, and returned. Psalm 91 does not promise a life free of attack. It promises victory in every attack. It declares that though arrows may come, they will never accomplish their purpose. This is why the one who dwells in God's presence walks in unshakable confidence. For the arrows of the enemy cannot destroy a soul that rests under the shadow of the Almighty. Do not forget the cry of Psalm 64. Hear me, my God, as I voice my complaint. Protect my life from the threat of the enemy. Hide me from the conspiracy of the wicked, from the plots of evildoers. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim cruel words like deadly arrows. But God will shoot them with his arrows. They will suddenly be struck down. Oh, how powerful this is. The enemy sharpens his arrows of lies, gossip, slander, and betrayal. Perhaps people have spoken words against you that pierced your heart. Perhaps accusations, insults, or betrayals have felt like daggers to your soul. But when you invoke this psalm, the arrows of the wicked are reversed. God himself releases his arrows in response, arrows of judgment and justice. Those who sought to destroy you with words fall by their own weapons. The arrows fired at you return, multiplied, striking the very ones who devised them. And then comes Psalm 7, a psalm of divine reversal. Let the evil of the wicked come to an end, but establish the righteous. He who digs a hole and scoops it out falls into the pit they have made. The trouble they cause recoils on them. Their violence comes down on their own heads. Do you understand the mystery here? Every arrow fired at you carries within it the seed of its own destruction. When evil rises against you, it plants the very trap into which it will fall. When arrows of destruction are sent toward your life, God in his justice bends them back until they strike the archer. This is divine law. What is meant for harm rebounds into ruin, and what was designed to destroy you becomes the very testimony of God's deliverance in your life. Psalm 7 is the assurance that the wicked cannot escape the consequences of their own plots. Now listen with your spirit. When you pray these psalms, you are not begging, you are enforcing. You are standing in agreement with God's eternal decree that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You are lifting your shield of faith, declaring to every arrow, you will not pierce me, you will not destroy me, you will return to where you came from. This is the kind of prayer that shakes the heavens and terrifies the enemy. It is not the volume of your voice, but the authority of your faith that causes arrows to recoil. Beloved, the arrows you see in your life, the sudden illness, the unexpected betrayal, the financial storm, the anxiety that rises without reason, these are not random. They are weapons forged in the unseen. But today you are armed with something greater. Today you have the Psalms, the very breath of God put into words, sharper than any sword, stronger than any shield. When you rise in the morning, declare them. When you lay your head down at night, declare them. When you feel the pressure of unseen attacks, declare them. Do not let an arrow fly unanswered. Do not allow an attack to go unchallenged. Meet every arrow with the word of God and watch it reverse its course. This is not the hour to live in fear. This is not the time to bow to arrows launched against your destiny. This is the hour to rise in faith, to plant your feet firmly in the promises of God, and to declare with boldness, every evil arrow fired against my life shall return to its sender. Every trap laid before me shall capture its maker. Every weapon forged against me shall be broken. For God is my shield, my fortress, and my deliverer. And when you declare this, heaven moves, angels are dispatched, darkness trembles, arrows shatter, and your life becomes a living testimony that no force of evil can stand against the power of a soul anchored in God. There comes a moment when you must no longer sit silently while arrows continue to fly unchecked against your life. You must learn to stand, to rise, to lift your voice like thunder and declare the word of God as your defense. Do you think arrows are sent to you because you are weak? No. Arrows are sent because the enemy fears the strength within you, the destiny ahead of you, and the anointing God has placed upon you. Arrows are not aimed at the insignificant. They are aimed at the chosen, the appointed, the ones marked by heaven to shake the earth. The fact that arrows have been fired against you is proof that you carry weight in the unseen world. But the greater truth is this: God has not left you unarmed. He has given you His word, His promises, His psalms, so that every arrow may be shattered, reversed, and returned. Psalm 35 is not a cry of despair. It is a cry of authority. When you speak it, you are invoking God as the mighty warrior, the one who takes up shield and armor on your behalf. The imagery is powerful. God Himself rising to fight for you, to disgrace your enemies, to scatter those who plot against you. The arrows that come against your life meet the divine shield of God and are turned back in shame. Have you ever considered that when you pray this psalm, you are inviting the very hand of God to lift weapons of war on your behalf? You may feel unarmed, but God is your weapon. You may feel surrounded, but God surrounds you more. This psalm teaches you not to fear confrontation in the spirit, but to stand firm, knowing that God fights with a power no adversary can withstand. When we meditate on Psalm 91, we see not only protection, but positioning. It speaks of dwelling, of abiding, of living under the shadow of the Almighty. Too many want protection without the presence, covering without commitment. But Psalm 91 is a covenant psalm. It calls you to live near God, to make Him your refuge, to anchor your soul in His shelter. Then, and only then, can you boldly declare that you are safe from the snare, from the pestilence, from the arrow that flies by day. Notice carefully, it does not say there are no arrows. It says the arrow will not touch you. You may see it flying, but you will not feel its sting. You may hear its whistling through the air, but it will not strike you. Why? Because God Himself has become your shield and rampart. That is not poetic language, it is reality. His faithfulness wraps around you as a wall no arrow can penetrate. But Psalm 64 reveals another dimension. God does not only defend you, He retaliates. The psalm says they sharpen their tongues like swords and aim cruel words like deadly arrows. But God will shoot them with His arrows. They will suddenly be struck down. Think of that. Evil may come against you with lies, slander, and gossip. Words may pierce deeper than physical wounds, and betrayal may cut sharper than steel. But when you pray this psalm, you call upon God to fire His own arrows, arrows of justice, arrows of truth, arrows of judgment that strike down those who rise against you. This is not about revenge by your hand. It is about justice by God's hand. Evil never goes unanswered. Lies never go unchallenged. When tongues rise against you, God Himself responds, and the very arrows of the wicked return to pierce their own hearts. Psalm 7 takes it even further by revealing a law of divine reversal. The wicked fall into the very pit they dig, and their violence comes back upon their own heads. This psalm is the assurance that evil is self-destructive. Every arrow fired carries within it the curse of return. You must see this with spiritual eyes. When the enemy digs a pit, God has already marked it as the place of their own downfall. When they release arrows against you, they have unknowingly signed the warrant of their own defeat. Psalm 7 reminds you that righteousness is established by God, and the wicked cannot outrun the consequences of their own deeds. The one who schemes against you unknowingly schemes against themselves. The one who curses you unknowingly curses themselves. The one who targets you unknowingly marks themselves for destruction. But here lies the wisdom. You must never forget that the Psalms are not just words to be recited. They are decrees to be enforced. When you speak them in faith, you are drawing a line in the Spirit. You are saying, no more arrows in my house, no more arrows in my health, no more arrows in my mind, no more arrows in my destiny. You are standing in your authority as a child of God and declaring that every arrow will not only miss its mark but return to its source. And when you stand with such conviction, the unseen realm responds. Angels are released, boundaries are fortified, enemies are scattered, and arrows are reversed. Let me speak directly into your life. Some of you have been wounded by arrows long ago. The words of others have left scars. The betrayals of people you trusted have pierced you deeply. The silent battles in your mind have drained your strength. But I declare to you now by the authority of God's word that those arrows will not define you. They will not destroy you. They will not dictate your future. What was meant for your ruin will become the evidence of God's protection and justice in your life. Every arrow that once caused you pain is now a testimony of God's shield around you. You must also understand that returning arrows is not merely about survival. It is about triumph. When arrows return, they not only fail in their mission, but also become instruments of divine justice. The enemy's own weapons become his downfall. This is why you must never fear arrows. Fear paralyzes, but faith empowers. When you live in fear of arrows, you live under the illusion of their power. But when you live in faith, you realize they are powerless against God's shield and destined to rebound in defeat. Arrows are not to be feared. They are opportunities to witness the hand of God. Beloved, let your prayer life be saturated with these psalms. Do not pray them lightly, but with fire. Do not recite them casually, but with faith. Speak them as one who knows that the unseen world listens and responds. Fill your atmosphere with them until no arrow can find its way near you. Train your children to declare them. Speak them over your home, over your business, over your health, over your destiny. Let these psalms become the pillars of your defense and the weapons of your warfare. This is why you must never see prayer as a ritual, but as a divine weapon that summons the very power of heaven into your earthly situation. So now I call you to awaken. Stop treating prayer like a last resort. Make it your first response. Stop approaching prayer as if you are weak. This is the moment where you draw the line in the sand. This is the day you decide that evil spirits will no longer toy with your mind, your peace, your health, your family, your destiny. You are not helpless. You are not abandoned. You are not powerless. You are armed with the greatest weapon of all, prayer aligned with the living God. Use it and watch as chains break, doors open, and victories manifest. Go forth now, not as the same person you were before hearing this word, but as one awakened, empowered, and clothed in the authority of God. Lift your spirit, lift your voice, and take your rightful place. Pray without fear, pray with boldness, pray with faith. And let the world see what happens when a life fully given to God declares with unshakable conviction, no evil spirit will have power over me, for God is my protector, my deliverer, and my victory.